In the beginning there is the lead, molten and fluid and without form. And it is melded with the Word, ancient and powerful and full of mystery. They are printing a Bible at Arion Press, a huge lectern Bible, sustaining a tradition that has been practiced for over 500 years. The design and casting of individual letters, painstakingly organized into lines and pages and compiled into a massive volume of history's best-selling book. The finished product will be 1.5 feet tall and weigh 25 pounds. Many of the 400 copies will feature gold leaf, hand binding, and illuminated letters. Watch closely. This is an endeavor that may never be seen again.
This may very well be the last Bible printed from movable type by letterpress. It's really not part of the economy of the printing industry.
Andrew Hoyen is the publisher and printer, the man who has chosen to print these Bibles the old-fashioned way, one letter at a time.
It has an aesthetic benefit which hasn't been replaced by the newer technology, and that's why we use these presses.
In 1455, Johannes Gutenberg created the world's first book, the Bible, using essentially the same technique. Create a piece of type, cover the surface with ink, and impress it on paper.
This is molten lead. It is shot up into a mold, and then you get your character.
We're in the foundry, where Louis Mitchell has been casting type for over half a century. For this massive project, the venerable data entry system, a keyboard and punched paper, has been replaced by some archaic high-tech. An ancient Macintosh has been jury-rigged into the system, converting the burning message into hot lead.
Here's the page we're doing right now. And here it is right on the screen. Then they go up the wires and come over here into the computer unit. This is how it comes out. It's monotype, one character at a time.
This is really a very elegant machine, even though it has a gritty look to it, isn't it?
Right, but everything is balanced and counterbalanced with springs so that everything is perfect in it. But when something goes wrong, sometimes I go crazy. And the guy who originally developed this machine went crazy. He wound up in an insane asylum.
I'm testing now to make sure that everything is solid so that the individual pieces of type can't fall out.
The Bible will require 7,000 pounds of metal, each row of type wedged into forms from which the pages will be printed.
Weighs over 100 pounds, which is why it's going to take two of us to lift it into the bed of the press. It's not only a big book, it's a heavy one. Letterpress printing is not as fast. For large runs, offset printing is far more efficient. In offset printing, which is the typical way in which printing is done today, the letter floats on the surface of the paper. With type, the letter form is bitten into the paper and you achieve a three-dimensional effect. It's somewhat like seeing a letter that's been cut into stone.
Letterpresses have been grinding out pages amidst this Dickensian decor since 1919. But the neighborhood, once simply south of Market, is now known as Multimedia Gulch. And in a sad irony, the dot-com influx will soon be forcing Arion Press to relocate all 30 tons of equipment. Do you feel a little strange in the middle of all this dot-com world?
If it's strange, it's only because what we're doing is substantial, as opposed to or in contrast to what you might think of as the insubstantiality of what's going on in the electronic world. And
you mean it's something you can hold?
You can hold.
To what extent is this an aesthetic process for you, an effort to just create something of beauty, and to what extent is there a spiritual component in printing a Bible?
The spiritual component is unavoidable. We are, all of us here, reading over and over again the pages. I myself am reading it aloud from start to finish. I will have read the entire Bible aloud in the proofreading process. So the message does get across. Going back to pre-printing days, before Gutenberg, Bibles were written out by hand. When printers took over the job, post-Gutenberg, they tried to emulate the beauty of the pages that the scribes had achieved. We today continue in that role to pay homage to this most important book.
So this is what lead and ink and artistry can create, a text of elegant form that conveys the history and the power of its words, a proclamation of faith and beauty, a book that will inspire its readers and invoke the spirit of Psalm 5. Give ear to my words, O Lord.